The Secret of the Conde Hermanos, Chapter 32. And so it was that year that another Valentine's Day came and went. It had found the Lamerts in their storybook cottage in Carmel watching King of Hearts, which Paloma had checked out at the Harrison Memorial Library, thinking it would be simply a highly appropriate film for the occasion, and little knowing the personal significance it would hold for Elsbeth. Your father and I saw it for the first summer in the United States with Carlos and Blanquita at the Fine Arts in Beverly Hills. What an impression it made on us all, and how aptly it described the upside-down world in which we were living at the time. Later, over Mai Tais at Trader Vic's, as we tried our best to solve the problems of the world, Francisco began to sketch intently with a ballpoint pen on a cocktail napkin. When we were about to leave, he pressed the napkin into my hand and said simply, "This is the answer to everything, the ultimate solution to all problems in the world," adding, with a penetrating stare, "Siempre recuerdos." As I glanced down at the napkin, I realized he had made a thumbnail sketch of me, under which he had written the caption, "Winter always turns to spring." I never really forgot Paloma. In my heart, I never really forgot, she concluded almost plaintively. "I know, mamica," Paloma assured her. "I know." The same evening had found the Easterlings in their bungalow in Venice Canals, watching the red balloon, which Alice had rented from Videolutz, and brought as a surprise for Blaise. The significance of her role as a godmother had only recently dawned on her, and she had begun to revel in her newfound capacity as a spiritual mentor, explaining it was now her moral responsibility to acquaint Blaise as early as possible with the ephemeral beauty of French cinema. Naturally, she's too young for Cocteau's Beauty and the Beast this year, maybe next, but The Red Balloon is a timeless story for all ages. Without words, it manages to speak on so many levels. It's just a perfect introduction, was her fair appraisal. Yes, all in good time, Helen indulged playfully. "By the way, how's your mother?" she asked, referring to the alleged phone call Alice had promised to make to wish Valentin a happy birthday. "Quite well," was Alice's quick response. "Although a trifle self-centered as usual, she thought I might just drop everything and come for a visit." I had to explain to her the joyful responsibilities I have undertaken recently of caring for Dulcinea, not to mention the fact that I'm concurrently a serious biology student, albeit with only one class under my belt. She winked. "So it seems Valentina may just have to come and visit me instead over spring break." "Well, I'd call that definite progress," Ellen observed optimistically, as Blaise, her mother, smeared liberally with pain de chocolat, climbed onto her lap, and Lysander called from across the room, "Alice, lean a little bit, and everyone say, 'Switzerland, please.'" He then clicked the shutter of his vintage Nikon camera and captured the three of them wreathed and happily in smiles. And the evening had also found Gwen, after a delightful chamber concert featuring Vivaldi's two most cherished seasons, winter and spring, followed by a reception in the inner atrium of the Getty Museum, having dinner with Peter McCann at a window table at the Sea Lion restaurant in Malibu, where she had taken prudent liberty on such a busy evening of making a reservation and inviting her to go to as a complete surprise. Over dinner, the conversation inevitably turned to the pugs Scarlatti and Vivaldi, and the metaphysical implications of the transmigration of souls. Had Gwen ever experienced anything remotely like it, he had asked, to which she had replied, "As a matter of fact, I have." And it was in this way that Peter McCann joined the ranks of Rogelio, Dr. Cordero, and Helena to become the fourth person to hear the story of the Conde Hermanos. Later that evening, when Gwen's and Peter's footsteps could be heard approaching the front door, Bartholomew and Blaise padded softly to the entry hall. positioning themselves to greet Gwen when she came in, as well as to overhear any important last-minute snippets of conversation between her and Peter. Sunday afternoons, I quite often visit the nearby meditation garden to stroll around in the natural Springfell Lake, Gwen could be heard to say, and Peter could be heard to reply, "Call me if you feel like having company. I'll be around." Most Sundays find me at home in the afternoon with my nose buried deep in, well, let it be said, the New York Times double acrostic, he admitted in tones of mock solemnity. "Really?" Gwen's ears perked up at this charmingly unexpected admission. "Well, I might just call you, Peter McCann," was all she said, however smiling. "I just might." Only moments later, when she entered the house, with the two cats swirling around her ankles, tails intertwined, as she reached down to scratch their ears, she made her way to the Conde Hermanos, which she had left lying comfortably on the sofa. It was now bathed hauntingly in moonlight that fell in soft shafts across it from a nearby window. Treading lightly, she lifted it gently. Then, sitting down, she placed the guitar lovingly on her lap. For some reason, she felt moved to play Romance d'Amour, one of the first classical pieces she had learned as a young music student. And although the song had been composed over 150 years ago, it never failed to exert a mysterious and timeless appeal over all who heard it. This tune had even managed to spark a modern-day scandal when it had been used to score the Hollywood film Blood and Sand, which the composer falsely claimed to have written it. Classical guitarists around the globe clamored in protest until the claim was rescinded and credit was rightfully restored to that most revered of all composers, Anonymous. "Perhaps it's really true," she mused, still quivering images of the Conde Hermanos. But alas, the instrument made no other reply. Yet she swore, if she was not mistaken, that she could hear the voice of Dr. Cordero somewhere in the back of her head reciting his oft-repeated favorite verse in which T.S. Eliot insists that if we keep on exploring, in the end, we will arrive at the place where we started and recognize it for the first time. "Perhaps," she murmured, thinking out loud, as she safely tucked the Conde Hermanos into its case and followed Blaise and Bartholomew, chasing each other's tails on the hall to bed. "Perhaps Petal's gravestone is right. The end is the beginning," she whispered hesitantly, finishing her thought and turning out the light.